Welcome to this video coverage for the final round of the Norway Chess Tournament 2014. Yeah, this ninth round is still full of suspense as it is not decided yet. Before the round we have Karjakin surprisingly leading the field after 2 wins. Yeah, bit on the lucky side, I guess. One of those wins against Giri, but he's in the lead. And today plays black against Caruana, who also with a win could get into the positive region of the table, and theoretically speaking could still share first. Also, we have the world champion Magnus Carlson with a +1 score. He could go to +2 and catch Karjakin. It's a matter of the result of those 2 games. Okay, what I'm going to do is this time I'm going to look at all the games, and I don't do particularly game of the day, which is a lot longer or more detailed than the others. I'm simply going to sort the games in order of importance. So the 2 decisive games for the tournament will come last, so that there's some suspense in this video in case you don't know the result. Okay, let's start, and this will be a very quick coverage. Giri playing Svidler. Both are, if I'm not mistaken, on -1. Very unexciting tournament. Giri had very good chances to make it a good tournament, but he lost this epic 131 move game against Karjakin from a winning position, and instead of him having a chance to catch up or get in the lead, it was Karjakin who did this. So the tournament was decided for Giri a couple of days ago, or 2 days ago. Okay, let's see what happened. We have a symmetrical English again, which is the opening of the tournament, playing all the time. They play that. Okay, this line here with A3, this is a common line where black very often sets up a hedgehog formation, and after a couple of moves this in fact happens. One drawback for black is that the knight is on c6, which is not ideal. You normally want your knight to be on d7. One reason why this is important is that this shot is quite often a problem. In fact, here Giri could have played that. I mean, this is the idea, leading to an awkward pin here on the knight. But this is not that dramatic. Black can retreat. It looks a bit weird, but it's not leading to all that much. Yeah, okay, played bishop f3, queen b8. All this is fairly standard stuff, nothing much happening. And here in this position, after bishop h4, bishop e7, bishop f2, yeah, you get the sneaky suspicion. Right, they drew the game here with the perpetual, and not with the perpetual, with the repetition of moves, which was certainly not forced, but well, I understand the players. I mean, they couldn't really do much in terms of final standings, and especially Giri was certainly very disappointed after this 130 move loss. Svidler had a very bad game yesterday against Carlson, where he was totally lost and somehow miraculously was gifted a draw in a way. So I understand the players. It's not great to watch, but yeah, last rounds, I think this is sometimes just understandable. Okay, next game is Topalov Aronian. Here I mostly want to look at 1 or 2 spots. For the final standing, this game also has no relevance whatsoever. They both cannot get to the lead anymore. Yeah, we have a Berlin defense with d3 and very slow build up from white with d3, c3, and Aronian sets up a very solid defensive position with bishop to g7, fianchettoed. Yeah, after some journey, but it's very typical of the Ruy Lopez. And in fact, there isn't that much happening. It's a fairly quiet game Well, white maintains a slight pull, very slight. However, we get to a critical position rather quickly. Just a couple of moves later, white has now initiated this play in the center with d4. Yeah, and here the next couple of moves are very interesting. Queen b5 is played, which is maybe not ideal. After that, it seems to be difficult for black to keep equality. After rook c1, white has a very substantial threat, and the absolutely weird thing here is that I mean, the threat is I'm saying obviously, but I really think obviously d5, and yeah, attacking the knight, and if it moves away, c7 is gone. It's not exactly difficult. But Aronian played bishop g7, strangely enough. It wasn't necessary to do that. I mean, he could play at c5, which is not a happy move. White is better, but there's probably nothing better available. No, but the totally amazing thing is, okay, he played bishop g7. Yeah, and now after some thought, almost 10 minutes, Topalov played h4, and it's really a mystery to me why he didn't take on b5. I mean, I didn't see the press conference, but it would be interesting to know, because, I mean, after d5, white is just winning c7, and the lines connected with this are really, really easy to calculate. I mean, would be interesting to know what he was afraid of. For example, if we look at this, white is just breaking through. The only thing that black can do is get one pawn back, but then knight c2. Maybe he had underestimated this move, I'm not sure. I mean, but look at this. Here black is really close to resignation. b7 is falling, or he must play a super passive move like rook b8. And this is just a technical win almost. I mean, yeah, b5 is also a very, very weak pawn. It can sometimes just picked up like this, for example. Yeah, it's mysterious. Yeah, knight g5 is also possible, but this is pretty much the same. Also an excellent position for white, very close to a win. And yeah, on top of all of that, if you don't take, there's also d5, and this is after queen takes, rook takes. This is also very convincing for white. A huge edge. Yeah, I have no idea what Topalov was doing here. He played h4. And after c5, there is nothing for white, absolutely nothing. We have this these trades and rook c8, and now those two pawns are simply too weak. Yeah, Topalov made some very mysterious decisions in the tournament. I mean, king h8 against Giri, where instead of having a clear edge, he just blundered it away. And this is quite comparable. I mean, d5 is a very easy move. And it's not like he didn't see it. Of course he saw it and he calculated lines, but somehow in those calculations there must have been a point where he missed something. Yeah, and here I don't want to get to this too deeply. Black always getting the material back. The only slightly remarkable thing was the final position, which was totally symmetrical. Don't have that too often after 41 moves. Yeah, a game where Topalov relatively easily could have won. Yeah, Aronian also had a very mediocre tournament for his standards, a bad one. But it seems that I only read that somewhere, that in the final round press conference he stated that he wasn't 100% healthy. He had a minor, yeah, I don't know, is it in English the same thing, operation? Yeah, he had to go to a hospital and have something fixed, and it seems to be all right now, but there were some yeah, he wasn't 100% fit already after this. Okay, but it seems that for the Olympiad in the beginning of August, he expects to be on 100% again. Okay, so next game, Kramnik Grischuk. Yeah. Now let's not screw this up. Kramnik is he on 50%? He's on 50%, and Grischuk I think as well. Yeah, so they both cannot win the tournament anymore, and Kramnik especially is certainly disappointed after he lost the round before that to Karjakin. But he's got the white pieces against Grischuk, and certainly a fight is in order. So we have a Grünfeld, and Kramnik is playing the bishop e3 line, one of the lines that he has played regularly over the years. But, I'm not an expert here. I was surprised though that this is fairly uncommon, this line. It looks very normal for the Grünfeld, at least what I'm thinking is normal. But it seems to be relatively new. Bishop f3 seems to be a new move. And okay, maybe I'm not having all the games relevant here, but it seems that this is a sideline, and it has a very concrete idea. Grischuk puts the bishop on d4, quite interesting. Yeah, white is basically forced to take it. Otherwise, black will take and get a fantastic knight on e5. So the capture is pretty much forced. C takes d, castles, very logical, and now knight e5. Yeah, very interesting and forcing way to play. If white now retreats the bishop like that, there's d3, and this is yeah, not ideal. Here c4 is a weakness, and is close to falling actually. Yeah, it's probably best to take on d4 as Kramnik did. They both played rather quickly, so it maybe was not unknown to them. Yeah, knight f3 played. Note that the move queen takes f3, which looks attractive at first, as this is winning a piece. Can be easily refuted by queen takes e5.
Check.
Okay, queen f3, and black gets this pawn here. Yeah, so let's take stock. It's equal material. The white king looks a bit exposed, and black is threatening a perpetual check at the moment. On the other hand, white has an excellent center, and with rook c3, the perpetual, of course, is prevented. Yeah, it's very tough to play this position. Black's structure is very compact. Only issue is, of course, the missing Grünfeld bishop on g7. So black's king side is slightly weakened. His king position is slightly weakened, and yeah, white enjoys this very very big center. It is, however, very double-edged, as yeah, white's king is also exposed, and those pawns, while being aggressively posted in advance, can also be weak. It seems that the coming moves, Grischuk took this pawn. Yeah, this is a pawn sacrifice by white. That the upcoming moves seem to be a very good play. At least the engine or engines do not have any objection about the moves. White seems to have a sufficient compensation for the material, and this is quite clear also for the human eye that this big advanced center must provide something. It's not just white being a pawn down. However, it is very difficult to play. Queen b2 is setting up a pin, and
check.
Yeah, here.
Check.
Yeah, here Kramnik already could have drawn with rook f1. Black has no way to escape that. It's a perpetual attack on the queen. But Kramnik wanted to win the game, and he also has more time on the clock. And he pushed with rook g3. and allowed the black queen to go back. This isn't a mistake, it's just taking a risk he could have drawn already. This is in the game against Karjakin that he lost, he also had a draw on the board and didn't do it. Okay, he fights on d6 using the passed pawn and giving up yet another pawn on c4. Yeah, it was taken by Grischuk, who already was in severe time trouble, as we can expect. Queen d3. Yeah, and here we get to a critical position of the game. It seems that here, of course, it's an amazingly complicated position with those advanced pawns and the white, the white active rooks. Here Grischuk makes a mistake, which is quickly pointed out by a computer, but for a human player, this is hell. Yeah, this position. He played rook to g4. It seems that rook d4 first is better, which attacks the queen, and only after the queen retreats, rook g4 seems to be better. One reason is that the queen now is not supporting the d pawn. Here after d5, it seems that the position should end in a draw. The game should end in a draw. White has a big attack simply. For example, like this. I mean, a big attack to steer the game towards the perpetual. Something like this is a line that the computer gives, and here white can draw with rook g6. There are obviously many possibilities here. It is a super sharp position, but yeah, the computer gives it as equal, so this was the right way to play, but very difficult for a human to do. He played rook g4 immediately, and this in fact gives Kramnik a chance, which he does not take. Kramnik played d7 in this position, which is not illogical, pushing the pawn, but it seems that the capture on g6 was very close to a white win. If we look at this a bit, if black takes, this seems to be winning, really. The pawn threatens with promotion, and after rook d8 there is e6, and now black falls apart. Yeah, this is too much. Now the f pawn must move, and here there's also rook c8. This is deadly, absolutely. So after the capture, probably black must recapture with the h pawn, and now d7. Yeah, we already seen the idea. If black now plays rook d8, there is e6, and black is not going to survive that. Yeah, just a possible line if he takes this queen f3.
Check.
Black has no check, and queen f7 is a very strong threat. Or if black takes,
check.
This
checkmate.
This mate in 2 moves. Yeah, this is a very strong attack. It seems that after d7, black actually must allow the promotion with a move like king g7. This is, however, not 100% clear. I guess white should win, but I'm a bit reluctant to call it completely winning. It is still very tricky. I'm sorry. Black takes, white takes, and now
check.
With this sequence, black has a ton of checks, and will probably. I'm just putting a sample line on here. He will get, for instance, here will get the e5 pawn, and black has 4 pawns for a rook. This shouldn't be enough, as white is not so badly coordinated. Let's say after this, maybe white can really continue the attack on the black king, but this is not totally clear to me. I mean, it should win for white, but it's not totally easy. F takes g6 was very strong and probably winning for white, but Kramnik played d7, and now Grischuk go back with rook d4, and he needed to do that. This was forced. Yeah, and here Kramnik had 16 minutes on the clock. He had some time to calculate, and it seems that here there is only one playable move, only one. And oh, the computer is now telling me there are 2 moves. Yeah, well, interesting. In my analysis, I had queen c2 as being a move that white can play, still keeping this threat alive. And yeah, something like, let's say, queen b5, f takes g6, queen c5. I must have done something wrong here. This is really weird. Rook d4, queen c2. This is what he played, yeah? Queen c2. I wonder if I have some mistake here in my file. fg6. And queen d7. No, I'm okay. I'm okay. Queen d7
Check.
takes king h8. And this counterplay by white should probably enough to draw the game. I was quite surprised that this also seems to be a move.
Check.
Interesting. Queen e4.
Check.
Funny. Yeah, and now the promotion is threatened, of course. If black plays this, there's this cool move. Very nice. Yeah, so white forces promotion. It can
Check.
only give some checks here, but now it's gone. The d and f pawn are too strong. That's funny. So f takes g6 was also possible, not with a win, because black can do this here.
Check. Check.
King g7 is still okay. Yeah, so white had ways to continue here and at least force a draw. But Kramnik played queen f3 after... How much time did he invest? Almost nothing. Amazing. Yeah, that's really amazing. Yeah, okay, Grischuk only has 1 minute something on his clock, but he still found the right move, e6. Yeah, and after e6, black is flat out winning. There is absolutely nothing that white can do here. You simply with e6 prevent any e6s from white, and the d7 pawn is falling. Yeah, here there is not much to find. Kramnik played f6, hoping for this mate on g7, but it's not easy to do. Took here, and with rook d8, black was ready to cover g7. So Kramnik has had terribly bungled up this. I mean, he had enough initiative and attack for the material to at least secure a draw, and at one point probably get an edge even. But the way it was played, Grischuk was just winning. And right after move 40, here Kramnik resigned the game. So an absolutely disappointing end of this tournament for the former world champion. He has he had started with a +2 score. He was leading the tournament, and then out of the last 4 games he just got 1/2 a point, losing 3 games and at the end being on -1. And yeah, this is very disappointing, of course. Lots of the losses were really a bit self-inflicted. Yeah? He could have repeated moves yesterday against Karjakin, but tried and lost. And today he had chances, at least, of course, for a draw, but also for doing more. But it didn't work out. At the end, he even lost the game. So very disappointing finish for Kramnik. Yeah, Grischuk at the end is finishing on a +1 score, which is yeah, not terrible, but he certainly had hope for more, as he had expressed already in the press conference, I think after round 7 or round 8. So okay, so let's now look at Carlson Agdestein. So Carlson absolutely must win the game. Everything else is not acceptable in a way. Yeah, certainly he would have thought so before the tournament that he should win this. But in the current standings with Karjakin leading, Carlson needs to win to at least have chances for a playoff. They have a rapid playoff in case of a tie. Okay, we have d4 and we get a Queen's Indian. And a pretty solid way to play. d5 is a somewhat sharper continuation on the black side, directly trying to attack white center, but white can for the moment ignore that. If black takes here, there is always knight e5, leading to an interesting position. Playable for black though, it's not terrible. But he played this check and went back. Yeah, after knight c3, castles, and d takes c4. White went knight e5, and well, I'm not an expert on this opening at all, and I didn't really look this up if this is a known position. But if you ask me, white seems to be in quite good shape here. He's got good central control, is better developed, and after c6, b takes c, queen c7. White already had a very pleasant choice how to continue. I would have been very tempted to play f4, I must admit, setting up this broad center, and maybe if black permits, even push e4 and sort of play a 4 pawns attack against the Queen's Indian. This really would be quite nice to get. So f4 was certainly not bad. Carlson played bishop f4 though, also keeping an advantage. At least white is more comfortable. Bishop b7, rook c1. Yeah, sort of a on general grounds, good move. Knight h5. Yeah, and around here, it is not clear what is the best continuation. He went knight to e4. The computer likes bishop e3. And what I liked here is e3. Yeah, this is the move I was thinking of. And then I was glad that Nigel Short, who was doing commentary on this, also suggested the move. I always like this idea to answer knight h5 with this, in this type of structure, not in this specific position. It leads to a formation like that where white, with those 2 pawns, has a very, very serious grip on e5, and he has a very nice support for the knight on e5. I would have liked this very much, this position. But okay, Carlson's move is not bad, of course. Knight e4. This leads to a similar formation with this pawns on d4 and f4. And, quite some funny intermediate moves, always those mates on h7. Yeah, and we got to this position. And this is quite an interesting structure. White has 2 double pawns, this here. But of course, this is no weakness. White is, especially with the pawns on e5 and f4, gaining space, and also has the idea to put a knight on f6. The f6 square looks really weak. As a matter of fact, the whole king position of black looks a bit weak. On the other hand, we already have some pieces traded, and black is defending really nicely, putting the knight on d4 first. Yeah, and now putting it on f5. And this is a good position for the knight. It is securely placed, and white really does not want to play e4. Yeah, in fact, this was an interesting move. It looks at first completely anti-positional, yeah, as black hops in on d4. On the other hand, white has some attacking chances. He can try to bring the rook up, or rook e3, g3, and he has got quite some space available. It would have been interesting to play that, but well, Carlson's style is to play a bit more conservatively, I would say, and he went for this doubling on the d file. This, however, does not give any advantage. Absolutely not. Yeah, here black played rook d4 is probably not the most precise move, because after e3 you take anyway. But it wasn't really mattering much. Black traded down and went rook d8. Yeah, the reduction of material is certainly helpful for black. Yeah, king f1. Yeah, little trick. Black cannot take the rook as
Check.
knight d8 is a big fork. King f8,
Check.
and now we have those trades. Yeah, how to assess this position? It is probably with best play equal. Black does not really need to fear this knight that much, but in a practical game it is terribly annoying to always face the prospect to get some check, yeah, on e8 or whatever, and then queen and knight is are attacking and yeah, mating the black king. On the other hand, the black knight here on f5, as mentioned, it was a good in the middle game, it was a good defensive post. Right here the knight is not doing anything basically. d4 is protected, d6 is protected. You can go back at some moment, but other than that the knight is doing nothing. So I think this is very much easier to play for white, despite the fact that it might be equal with absolute best play. Against the computer, for example, you probably won't win this. But white is easier to play. Magnus is playing those little strengthening moves and activates his queen. Knight is rerouted, yeah, to attack f7. No? This is probably a good idea. And now Agdestein is going for b5. This I found surprising, because I wasn't really sure how white would make any progress if black is just staying basically, if you sit and wait. But b5 is probably not really bad. Queen d3, a6. He went to b6. Yeah, black has a 3 against 2 majority here, so on paper, theoretically speaking, yeah, he's the one with the possibility to get a pass pawn. But all this is not as relevant as this knight always attacking f7. So the black queen is basically tied to the pawn, and this really means that this majority, yeah, is nice to have, but probably is not something that you can use to play for win as black. Yeah, in fact, we have a couple of more moves which don't really change the assessment that much. And now we get to this situation here, knight to c3. Yeah, and here Agdestein is taking
Check.
on c4. And it seems that this is the only real mistake that he commits in the whole game, but it proves very costly. It seems that queen a5 was a good way to play this. He's protecting b5 with the queen, and if white
Check.
tries to invade here, black has
Check.
this check here, after which yeah, this for example is leading to an immediate draw. White must probably give the perpetual, and if white retreats, black can take here and has got this counterplay. This is a perpetual check, but it's very difficult to calculate all this, as you always see those ghosts, yeah, the knight giving checks and whatnot. Yeah, he decided
Check.
to take here, and after queen takes, now it gets very, very problematic. The problem is queen e4 and the invasion, or queen a4 and the invasion, and it's really dramatic. Yeah, what the engine shows here. It's far more than a pawn for white, and it gets increasingly difficult to
Check.
defend.
Check.
Yeah, around here it's probably gone. White is attacking, and compared to the line we had seen before, there's simply a pawn on c4 missing, which is the important counterplay device. Yeah, here he played c4, but if black takes, there is
Check.
this check, also quite nice. can easily be missed sometimes with little time on the clock. Yeah, c4 was tried, and now queen f8. Yeah, and f7 is falling. There is simply nothing that black can do. The knight is also
Check.
joining the attack.
Check. 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 Check.
Yeah, series of checks.
Check.
And here Agdestein resigned the game. The easiest continuation is king c5.
Check.
So
Check.
is this way to play.
Check.
And here black only has queen b5, which can happily be taken by the octopus knight here on d6. Yeah, a win for Carlson at the end. So he has done his job that he needs to do in the final round, getting to +2. This is all in all not a very satisfactory result for him, especially considering that he had this totally winning position against Svidler in round 8 with a win in this round 8 game. And yeah, same, he would have won this as well in the same situation. He would have gotten to +3 score and would have had at least the shared tournament victory in the back, which certainly would have been okay with him. But this way, I mean, no matter what, if he reaches the tie breaks or not, we will learn that in the next game. He certainly wouldn't be very satisfied with his result. Only won 2 games, yeah, and in one of the games against Aronian he was worse, very much worse. Okay, so the game Caruana Karjakin is the decisive one. Let's see what they played. Yeah, amazingly, another symmetrical English. This is really becoming very popular here. And Caruana is playing with a very quick a3. This is an interesting way to play. We had seen this before. I just wanted to point out one little detail. It's an easy one, but still, it happens time and time again. If black plays e5 here, this is a mistake because of knight takes e5. Yeah, little tactical motif worth remembering. Yeah, this is a pawn at the end. Or knight c3, there is this type of desperado. Yeah, here black can theoretically speaking take further, yeah, like here. But it's a total desperado. Here white gains the knight and has an extra pawn. Knight takes e5 is a neat little trick. This is also the reason why black retreats to c7. He wants to get in e5. Now a3 played, yeah, and this in a way discourages e5, as then white has this b4 idea, yeah, probably after castles. Right here it's also playable, the general idea being this, and white is in very good shape. Though a3 is interesting, it in a way provokes black to play with g6. The bad news for white is this is also a very valid setup, and it's not clear that in this g6 lines you really want a3 being played. Yeah, to be honest, I think that this is a big nothing for white if we look at this. Black has got the knights on c6 and e6. This is very similar to the Giri Karjakin game. Maybe it's just the same position. I could have looked that up, really. It's very, very similar. Yeah. Again, Caruana is doing something ambitious. He wants to fight, maybe win the game and still get a shared first place. But if we look at the position here, yeah, after all these trades, black's got the bishop pair and is fairly solid. So this cannot be too great for white. It's certainly okay, but it shouldn't be anything great. Yeah, let's see what happens. He plays with this b5 move, fixing those pawns, and long term trying to attack and take them. Also c6 now is a spot where white piece might be used effectively. Castles, d4, rook c7. Yeah, and here white made a very remarkable move, which I would have been very reluctant to play, but he was obviously deeply irritated by black threatening to play e7, e5 in the long run, or maybe in the short run. He played the move f4. Yeah, yeah, this is a move that is yeah, not very desirable positionally, as weaks e3, g3. You don't have a dark square bishop anymore, but it makes sure that e5 is not being played. So maybe it was yeah, born out of necessity in a way. The whole situation is probably about balanced. Yeah, black is centralizing and now trying to activate his bishop. Yeah, now a5. Very interesting moment here. And here Caruana plays very ambitiously, probably okay, but ambitiously. He could have taken on a6, of course, this en passant, which after this is, I guess, quite equal. He wanted more, and probably this was an okay decision. White now gets his fair share and better share of the c file, and even manages to enter here on c6. This is always interesting, those kind of advanced squares, and here we see one important point of it. You sometimes can sacrifice an exchange to establish a very strong pawn. This, in fact, it didn't happen in the game, would have led to a fantastic position for white. The idea is knight b5 and c7, and you cannot go here because of queen a3, which is very strong. Attacking here, and this is very good for white. Yeah, black cannot really take the exchange, and this is annoying. Yeah, you always have to live with this rook for a moment. Yeah, e6 was played, and this controls d5, so maybe the capture is a bit more likely now that maybe knight d5 is also not possible. Yeah, Caruana retreated because he has spotted this idea, getting the bishops traded here and getting the rook to c6 after that. Now queen d6 was played. Yeah, and by now it is quite serious. White now has the chance to really get something in this game, and this is with the move knight to e4. This seems to lead to a quite substantial advantage for white. Let's say queen e7, there's not much else. Now this position seems to be very good for white. b6 is weak. And yeah, the only counterplay, of course, is connected with the a-pawn, but this is not so quick. This might be a line to be considered. And we see that knight c4 is also a possibility. Very strong square for the knight, attacking b6 and helping to stop the a-pawn. In this situation, it is really critical for black. I don't know, not sure if he would have had a chance to save the game in this line. Maybe instead of rook b7, there's a4. Trying to play more actively, we can try to check that. Oops, rook b7, and again this knight d6. Yeah, knight e4 was very strong for white, but it wasn't played by Caruana. He has not so much time on the clock. He played knight to a4, directly attacking the pawn, which is also a very tempting move. It's not like it doesn't make any sense. Black took on c6, understandable. Rook takes and queen b4. And this is what he probably had missed, or misjudged in a way. The knight is hanging, and okay, it must move or must be protected. If we look at knight b6, there is queen b5, and this is really not what white wanted. Giving up the b5 pawn now means that this is not a good outpost anymore. And yeah, don't forget, white has moved all his pawns and has a very weak king. There are moves like this threat, and so now with the queen side yeah, deteriorating, it gets more and more problematic that white is weakened so much and the a-pawn is in existence. Very tricky now to play. He played after queen b4. Maybe queen d1 was the toughest. He played knight c3. Yeah, and now passed pawns must be pushed. There's a4. Yeah, very, very difficult to play now. Rook b6. Yeah, this move coming. It is absolutely not good. It's very comparable to the game. In the game he played this move, and after a3 took rook c8, rook c6, and queen c4. Very logical continuation, but also a very lost continuation. This is a super dangerous pawn. There is bishop b4 as the direct threat, and white really does not have any decent move. Played c7 is the only one that is not directly losing. Queen takes, queen b3, and now queen a5. Again going for this route with an activation of the queen. And yeah, white is without any defense. He played this. Queen b2 is again threatened. Yeah, this is covered, but I mentioned, yeah, all this has been weakened by f4. f4 is always a double-edged move. It is good and serves its purpose here in the middle game, but later when the position opens up, it can very often backfire on you. The compact black position here with the king being totally safe is here simply more, more beneficial. Knight c5. And this is falling. Yeah, it wasn't really possible anymore to cover anything here. If we, let's say here, to cover it.
Check.
Black is already breaking through. Yeah, and this is just picking up the pieces, basically. Check. Get some checks.
Check.
Yeah, this pin is decisive. Here, Caruana resigned. The knight is hanging, and this means that basically there is only the trade, and now the a-pawn is just doing the home run. So, Karjakin won this game with black in the final round against Caruana, which means he has won this thing. He has won the tournament, and I think this is pretty much a sensation after... Yeah, if you would start a video at the point of move 120 in the game against Giri, you would have seen Karjakin is on 50% in this tournament and he's dead lost in this game. And then Giri blunders it away, giving Karjakin this point on a silver plate. He's on +1. Then he plays Kramnik, who is not willing to take a draw somehow, despite the position being equal. He then, he continues to play, and then Karjakin does a good job. He wraps this up, uses all Kramnik's inaccurate moves. Yeah, and then here in this game, it was a tough fight. At one point, white had an advantage, but it wasn't like a direct win. Yeah, but white could have done something. But he fought his way to yet another victory. So he won this tournament at the end with a score of +3. And just a moment. All right, back now, and have managed to somehow wriggle this window in the video. Yeah, just to have a quick overview of the final standings. Karjakin with 6 points. This +3 score, we see that he had a loss early. This minus sign symbolizing the loss. He lost against Aronian, and after that he won 4 games. Yeah, he won against Caruana in round 4, and then had those 3 consecutive wins at the end. Carlson, the only player without a loss, he won against Aronian this tough game, yeah, where he was very much worse at some point, and the final round against Agdestein. So not a catastrophe. And this is also very much a secret, not a secret, but a trademark of Carlson's. I think he now has, for more than 3 years, never played a tournament below 2,800 performance rating, which is remarkable, really. Yeah, but okay, he certainly expected more, and the game against Svidler was really something else. Yeah, Grischuk had an up and down tournament. He lost 1-2, lost again, yeah, 4 decisive games, then a couple of fighting draws with chances. He could have beaten Giri probably, yeah, very good position there. And he won last round against Kramnik for +1 score, even gaining a couple of Elo points. Caruana is certainly disappointed. He started with 2 wins and then got only 2 losses at the end here with a couple of draws. 50% is probably not living up to its own standards. Yeah, Topalov with 50%, he played a roller coaster tournament as so often. Lost games against Grischuk and against Giri, very mysterious game where he had almost winning position and managed to lose it with some strange moves. Yeah. Aronian probably also not very satisfied. Wasn't 50% when he played Carlson, had this great position but lost it at the end. And okay, it seems that he wasn't 100% in good physical shape. Yeah, Svidler, the only player without a win, I think. Okay, besides Agdestein. Svidler played 8 draws and lost 1 game against Caruana. Yeah, he is probably not very satisfied. You never are if you don't win a game. But in this tournament, though, I mean, if you look at this, he lost 2 Elo points. It's he basically performed up to his rating. It's just always a bit... it feels a bit empty if you don't win a game. Yeah, Giri could have easily gotten on higher in this tournament if he had won this mentioned a couple of times game against Karjakin, this 131 move game. Very up and down tournament with chances and spoiled chances. Yeah, and Kramnik, what a tournament. Yeah, after 5 rounds he was leading the thing with +2. We see here plus the 2 wins, and then he had this 3 losses. Yeah, the disaster loss against Topalov, which certainly was terrible for him, and then the 2 games where he had at least equal positions, chances even today, and both he lost. So I don't really think that you will find many cases in Kramnik's career where he scored half point out of 4 games. I mean, there have been years probably where he only lost 3 games in a whole year. Yeah, and last place is for the Norwegian number 2 Simon Agdestein, who had a fantastic start, 7 draws, and then lost 2 games. Shaky game against Topalov and today against Magnus. Yeah, but -2 is a great result, really. He has not won a game, and he could have won games. He had 2 fantastic positions early on. But at the end, this still means a rating gain of 10 points. He has performed far above his rating expectancy. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the coverage of this tournament. It was interesting, very close field. You didn't have much. You don't have. There wasn't one player running away with it and keeping a lead or anything. It was a very tough competition. Yeah, I think the next thing I'm going to at least briefly cover is the Rapid and Blitz Championships. Maybe I'll do some of those Rapid games if there is something interesting to show. I'm not doing any daily stuff, but if there is something interesting, I might show it. And I'm not quite sure. There must be something until the Olympiad, but I don't have it right now. Yeah, I'm not quite sure right now what happens until the Olympiad, which starts beginning of August. There's certainly some tournament in June and July, but I'm not aware of it at the moment. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this coverage, and I'll be back soon. Thanks.